Alice Ruhweza outlined Africa's next chapter in transforming its agri-food systems as Kigali hosted the 2026 AFS Forum, a landmark edition marking 20 years of the platform. The forum brought together over 4,500 global stakeholders under the theme Investing in Africa's Agri-Food Systems, Nourishing Nations, Growing Jobs, Building Resilience, amid growing calls for stronger local investment and sustainable solutions to the continent's food challenges. Alice reiterated this in an exclusive interview with RBA's Adam Squizera. Let's take a look.
Thank you, dear viewers, for watching RwandaTV News. I'm Adam Squizera, and tonight I'm having Alice Ruhweza, the president of AGRA, who is going to reiterate about this launch ceremony of AFC Forum 2026. This launch coincides the celebration of 20 years of food systems transformation under AGRA and AFC Forum. Looking back, how would you assess the impact of these efforts in terms of seed access, farmer productivity, market participation, and as well as ultimately delivering more resilient and nutritious food system?
Thank you very much. So when we started, when AGRA started 20 years ago, the whole premise was, how can we deliver a green revolution in Africa, just like Asia and Latin America had delivered? They had pulled their people out of poverty through agriculture. How could we have a uniquely African green revolution? And our first bet was really on seed, because if a farmer has access to the right seed, they will increase their productivity. But it was also very clear that the seed has to fall on the right soil. So you have to have the right soils as well. And you also have to have the right inputs. And you have to have an extension worker who can also guide the farmer on how to do the right input mix of that. So we'll work on seeds, we have our work on sustainable farming, which also deals with soils and extension. And then markets are also important, because once they've produced all that produce, what are they going to do with it, especially the one that they don't consume? It will end up being thrown away. So we needed to have work also on markets. We needed to also have work that focuses on women, gender, and nutrition, because the food has to be nutritious, of course, but also women produce most of the food, and so women need to be supported to grow. And overarchingly, you also had to have policy, because policy is what gets you to scale, having national policies. And so over the last 20 years, we've worked on all of that. We've been working on all of that. And when you look around, when we started, it was only maybe 11 companies producing about 2,000 metric tons of certified seed. Now we have over hundreds of companies, 600,000 metric tons of certified seed. Rwanda is self-sufficient. You can export seed. A small company we supported in Tanzania is now 70% of a market share. And more. There are some companies that had no seed company, some countries, and now they have. So the growth of that sector, of the seed sector, has been tremendous. But another thing we did that was difficult at the time is the distance that the farmer used to walk from his farm to the place where he could access inputs. At the time, it was 32 kilometers. That is 9-hour walk, a full day lost. Now that's down to 8 kilometers or even less. It is sufficient. They can walk, they can get the seed, or they can get an agro-dealer network or a mobile phone now with digitization, and they can access that. We've done work where we've really supported policy changes in many countries, but also supported at the African Union, the continental level, supporting the Comprehensive Africa Agriculture Development Plan, making sure youth interests are included in that plan, the Youth Agriculture Business Index, and others. So we've done a lot. But what's also important about the forum, which is what we're launching today, is that the forum is where you bring and showcase what is working. It's the place where you inspire others to learn, you share, but also inspire others. And it's not just Africa, it's also globally. The forum brings a global audience. It takes Africa to the world.
The 2026 theme emphasizes investment, job creation, and resilience. So why is this a critical moment for Africa to scale investment in agri-food systems? And how can these investments strengthen markets and improve food system on this African continent?
It's so important because after 20 years now, we've done all the things we wanted to do. We've done the foundations, you know, the seeds and they're there, but now we need investment. This is a sector that needs investment. And you know, like I know, is that a lot of the funding support for the sector had been coming from various development partners, USAID being one of them. USAID was a big player. It pulled out. And when it pulled out, what doesn't come out more a lot is that a lot of other donors also pulled out. We're seeing more and more of the funders more now increasing their defense budgets, having to do that. So which means that now it's left for us and Africa to really work on this sector. And that's good for us because this sector can fund itself. It's a business. It is not a charity. It produces food, the food that feeds the world. Our shea butter is in cosmetics around the world. Our cocoa is in chocolates around the world. I could go on and on and on. We have this sector is so powerful. It's Africa's biggest employer, and therefore it can produce. And so it's very important for us to make the sector bankable and attract investment in this sector and really drive economic growth for Africa.
There are numerous challenges on this African continent, especially in this sector of food system. I want you to mention some of those challenges and what are possible opportunities for the farmers out there to also help them to bridge those gaps.
It's true, but and I like to take the position of the sector as an opportunity. I like to focus on opportunities. Yes, there are gaps. There are gaps because we still haven't reached the highest productivity that we would want to reach. We have not received the investment. I think out of the 0.7% foreign direct investment that comes into Africa, agriculture only gets about 0.001. That needs to change. That we need to make the sector investable. But for me, I also like to look at the bright side. The sector is it's Africa's growth engine. There is no other sector that is going to reduce poverty except this one. And I want to also focus on a farmer. If we can get the farmer earning just enough resources to where they can afford nutritious food, they can take their child to school, they can afford health care, they can reinvest, the farmer will prosper and Africa will prosper. So that, for me, I like to focus on the opportunity that this sector provides to Africa and the fact that we want to get African investing more.
One last question. Looking ahead, what does success for Africa's agri-food system looks like in terms of job creation for youth, women's empowerment, and resilient market, plus also improved nutrition?
Definitely the value addition is going to matter, right? When we produce cassava, we obviously want to consume it, but we also want to show that cassava can be a source of aviation fuel. Yes, it is viable. It is viable. It is viable, but we need to get to scale. We need to create the right investments framework. I think the sector, the agro-processing, the agro-industrialization will matter. But importantly, like I said, making sure that the farmer is able to earn the right income from what he produces will matter. If the farmer, we know that if they earn at least $1,200 a year, it starts to shift. We know that if you can organize them in cooperatives of about 1,500, it starts to shift. So we need to look at those numbers and we need to stay focused on these numbers, to stay focused on getting that farmer to prosper, because 60% of Africa is employed in agriculture. So if 60% is prospering, the continent will prosper. Policies matter, but we have policies. I don't think it's the policies that we are lacking. I think it's the implementation. But when you talk about harmonization, I'll give you an example. Of course, CADAP, the Comprehensive Africa Agriculture Development Policy, is our nation's policy. We have also several African Union protocols. We have the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. That is our continent-wide policy for increasing intra-Africa trade. They matter. We just have to make them. Now we have to put them into action.
Thank you for your time, Alice Ruhweza, President of Accra.
Thank you.